Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Anthony with Edge on Regenerative Medicine. I have a special guest today. We're going to be talking about auto injury accidents. Now what? And today we have Dr. Dean Insana. How are you doing, Doctor?
Fine. How are you, Mark?
You know what? If I was doing any better, I'd be a triplet. Um, doing great. I'm loving this. I'm loving what's going on in the world, as in not as in the coronavirus and stuff like that, but I'm loving what's going on because there's a lot of people that you and I can help and reach. And I know that if we master helping as many people as we can in this world, goodness comes back to us. And so today, I know that you're at drdeaninsana.com. That's your website, and you're also in the Cherry Hill, New Jersey, New
That's correct.
Jersey. I can't even say it.
Joyzy.
There we go. I've heard you guys got great pizza. I've never been over there. I've been wanting to go though, but I love pizza. But
Come visit.
yeah, I'll come visit. Yeah, so we're gonna just jump right into it. Tell us about how long you've been in practice and your story, how you got into chiropractic and auto injury.
Well, I've been in practice for 24 years since 1996. It actually ended up being a second career for me.
Really?
I was My first career was in corporate. I was a purchasing manager for a company in New York City, and back in 1990, the company was going to go through some corporate changes, and my boss came in one day, and I was hoping this was going to be the promotion we've been talking about for several years, but she was telling me that, look, the company's going to go in a different direction. We're going to be eliminating your job, and this is your last day.
Wow.
And at the same time, that month I was getting divorced.
Oh, come
so,
on.
so this was not a very Merry Christmas that December.
Right.
But so I had a lot of time to think since a lot of bad things were happening. And I always had an interest in healthcare. And I went to the library back when libraries had books that we could actually look up and read.
Right.
And there was a book called The Jobs Almanac. And I started looking through the Jobs Almanac at different healthcare jobs. And I had seen the one about chiropractor. And I was reading the one about chiropractor about what the job picture would be like and what the job entailed, the education requirements.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I like this. I think this is something that's going to be needed for the future because it's not a medical or medicine approach. It's a alternative care approach. So at the same time, this was happening. I was actually seeing a chiropractor for my back and sciatic pain
Oh,
at
wow.
the same time. So I know that this stuff was working. So I said, you know what? There is something to this chiropractic stuff. And I'm doing this without medicine. So I looked up what the requirements was. And of course, I was a business major before.
Oh,
So I
wow.
was a master's in business and I had the business background. So I knew I had to take a whole bunch of science courses to get admitted to chiropractic school. So I called up my parents at the time and I said, look, can I move into the basement, back into the basement? And I want to go back to school and take some science courses and be a chiropractor. And they
Wow.
said, well, you sure you want to do that? Because, you're 35 years old, And I said, yeah, I definitely want to do that. Absolutely. So that's what I did. I went to Rowan University in Glassboro, New Jersey, which was across the street from where my parents lived. So for a year and a half, I took all of my science courses. I applied to New York Chiropractic College in New York, upstate New York, and I went back to school. And I graduated in 1996, in April 1996.
Nice.
And so now, you're out there in practice, and I was looking for a home office practice to set up because I figured, well, economically that would be better for me to start with, rather than, renting or leasing a space and then a place to live.
Killed two birds with one stone.
Exactly. So I found a place that was a podiatry office before. So
Oh, wow.
I had to fix it up. I had to fix it up a little bit. And I figured, well, until I start making some money, I need to work. And I started working for this chiropractor in Philadelphia, which is like 15 minutes away from where I live currently.
Right.
And his practice was primarily personal injury, which was basically car accidents and workers' comp.
Okay.
So I learned the business working for him, and after about a year and a half, I decided to go off on my own. I saved up some money. I was building up a small patient base in my home office back in New Jersey.
Smart.
And I started off going off on my own from that point. And then I started just calling attorneys and some orthopedic doctors and trying to get referrals for business. And fortunately, I was able to get a handful of cases and some patients coming in and build up the cash flow. And I liked what I was doing, so I said, you know what, I'm going to continue working this personal injury business. And where today we're 2/3 or even 3/4 of my practice is primarily trauma based.
Oh, wow.
When I say trauma, I mean car accidents, workers' compensation, even sports injuries, because that's also trauma related. And it's been like that since the late 90s, really.
Oh, wow. So that's pretty awesome. It's cool. I bet your mom and dad were like, "You're moving back?"
Yeah, I know.
I'm back.
I said, "You sure you want to do this?" I said, "Yeah, I want to start my life all over again." I said, I want to pick an education that I want to do. I had gotten divorced, so that made it easy to go back to school. So I had nothing holding me back. And I got to tell you, it was definitely the best decision I ever made. I have no regrets. I'm glad that I did make that decision and took the risk, because
Love it.
sometimes the worst case is when you don't do what you're supposed to do by not making that choice, by being scared or being apprehensive. And not that I wasn't apprehensive, I was, but I knew that I could do it.
I love it. That's awesome. I'm sure you get a lot of questions with auto injury and sports people. I'm sure you get a lot of them saying, "How long will it take for me to recover?" How do you respond when they ask you that type of question? Because I'm sure you get that a lot.
Well, everybody wants to know, well, how long is it going to take? And I usually tell them, so you know what, it really depends. It's not a cookbook answer for everybody. For some people, it could get better in weeks, and some people it would take months.
Right.
And everybody heals differently. You have different comorbidities involved. If you're diabetic or you have other autoimmune issues that would slow down the healing, that's going to take a lot longer. If you've had prior injuries, that could possibly take a lot longer as well. So it really depends on a case-by-case basis, quite honestly. And that's usually what I tell them, and they're pretty much okay with that.
Okay, so let's just say I come in your office. We're just going to do a quick spin on this. I come in your office. I have a really bad case. Let's say I got in a car accident, and I think I have sciatica. Let's just say in my body, my wrist, whatever it may be. How would it look if I were to go in your office and I'm sharing that with you? Do you do like X-rays? I mean, how would you diagnose me to even help me?
Well, the first thing I do with every patient is I do a comprehensive history on what their health history is and what happened in the accident.
Right. Okay.
And so a lot of what I expect to see in my exam, or to be confirmed in my exam, is because of what I've heard in the consultation.
Oh, okay.
In the first place. So I put them in the exam room, and then I do a spinal exam, do some orthopedic tests, some muscle testing, some neurological testing, and it basically confirms what I really think.
Okay.
From the consultation that I already have prior to the exam.
Okay, so
and
when
from that point,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go for it.
From that point, then I come across a comprehensive treatment plan. If they've already been to the ER where they've had X-rays, then I review the X-ray reports. If not, then I'll give them a script for the X-rays and get that done as well too.
You mentioned neurological report. How does that? How do you? That's a big word. Like when you say neurological report, what does that mean, and what's that entail?
Well, basically, I do a pinwheel exam, which basically, comparing side to side, let's say, if they feel it the same as they did on another extremity, then
right.
I would say you have some neurological deficit. Or if their reflexes are less than what is normal, then that would be a neurological deficit as well.
Okay, that's awesome. I just know if I'm thinking it, someone else is probably thinking it when they're watching this on social media land. I'm sure you get this a lot. When will I get back to normal? And if so, how do you respond to something like that?
Yeah, well, usually what I tell my patient is I look to get everybody back to normal to the way it was 100%. But sometimes because of the nature of the injuries, it may not be 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it might peak off at 90% or 80% or whatever the number might be. But in general, I would say most of my patients do very, very well from the treatment. Mm-hmm. Usually soft tissue injuries do take 6 months to a year sometimes to heal properly. So, and when I say heal properly, I don't mean heal properly where it's exactly the way it was before, because scar tissue heals differently than regular tissue.
Okay.
So I try to get them back as close as possible to 100% where they can go back and resume as many activities that they were doing before, whether it's at work or playing sports or whatever the case may be.
Okay, so let's just say I'm one of your clients or one of your patients, and I'm in a car accident and I'm working with you, and say month 7, I'm feeling fantastic. How do you recommend me to still come see you at least once a month, twice a month, so that I'm having a continual checkup so I don't go back to default, back into pain? What type of recommendation do you normally do when someone recovers to like a 9 or a 10 being high, as in not feeling any more pain?
I usually recommend some level of maintenance care.
Right.
Usually once or twice a month for some patients on the average. Mm-hmm. And that usually helps them maintain because of the nature of the injuries, because you might have some fallback as a result.
Okay, no, exactly. I mean, I see a chiropractor twice a month. Matter of fact, I see mine today at 4:00. One thing I have to say, friends, if you're in the New Jersey area, make sure you see someone like Dr. Insana, that he just doesn't crack you and pop you. He actually does all his research and he finds out what's going on, where the pain is, not just where it started, but just because you had an accident, it could have been something earlier before that. So he goes deep into that. And I love that about what you're telling me. But I have to tell you guys that chiropractic literally saved my life. This is why I do this. I had a slip disc. I was out of work for almost a year. I couldn't sleep on a bed. I slept on the ground. When I slept on the bed, I was in so much pain. I'm out of work. I'm in workman's comp, and they're telling me to go work out. And the more I start working out, the more pain I got in. And then all of a sudden, I saw a chiropractor. This chiropractor changed my life. He was not only adjusting, because we have our spine, and if there's not enough blood flow that's flowing, it'll start to clog up, which will start to cause pain. Not a doctor, just saying from what I know. And what's very interesting is when he started, because I was having these migraines that would not leave me alone. And then as soon as he adjusted my neck, and believe it or not, my jaw too, all of a sudden the headaches went away. And then he goes, all right, what I want you to do, I want you to start swimming laps in the water. Within 2 weeks, I had no more pain. To this day, I have no more pain. Now, I will tell you, I have no more pain, but when the pain starts to try to creep back is when I'm not getting my adjustments, when I'm not seeing my chiropractor. So people, make sure when you're seeing Dr. Insana, you want to make sure that you're staying consistent because this is your investment. You can't put a price on it. Anyways, I just had to say that. I got to encourage people.
I just want to mention one thing, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a trauma, like a car accident, sometimes the symptoms don't appear instantaneously. Sometimes you might feel fine at the time of the accident,
Right.
but it may not develop for a few days after the accident. So that's one of the things that I want people to be aware of, is they say, well, I feel very, very good. And then a week or two later, they're having issues, and it's because the injuries have finally settled in, and now they really need to come in and see me.
You know what? I like that. I think it's just really important, and especially in this time that we're in, with virus or whatever it may be. It could be the flu. It could be whatever it may be. Friends, family, go see a chiropractor. People don't realize that your immune system has everything to do with your spine. Everything starts with the spine. And if you're not taking your vitamin C, you're not working out, you're not taking care of yourself, you are more immune to viruses or whatever it may be. Would you agree, or maybe you can help me on that?
I totally agree. I always tell patients, I said, look, come in and get adjusted. It'll boost your immune system because the nervous system controls all the systems in the body, including the immune system. And with this coronavirus going around, I recommend them taking additional vitamin C and some zinc in their daily supplements because of there's been studies talked about where supposedly vitamin C is supposed to be very very good as far as boosting your immune system. So vitamin C and zinc, there's been a lot of talk about that boosting your immune system. So why not do it? It's not going to hurt you.
No, I mean, exactly. I mean, are there any places that you recommend where people can get good vitamin C? As you and I know, I can go to Walmart or Target and I'm not going to get the quality. I can go to Costco, but I'm not going to get the quality. It's been proven that when you buy vitamin C or vitamin D, there's maybe a couple strands in there. You got to drink the whole bottle just to get one good pill.
Right. I usually recommend sticking with known brand names.
Mm-hmm.
I know brands like Solgar, for example, has been around for a long time. I would stay with brand names and stay away from Walmart type names or CVS type names. I would stick with definitely well-known vitamin companies. I would stay away from the so-called the cheap brand names that you really never really heard anything about before. I mean, I would stick with a better quality known brand name than anything else. And the key thing with vitamin C is that it's a water-soluble vitamin. So what you want to do is you want to take it in divided doses throughout the day so it stays fresh inside your body.
Nice. I like that. Little doses. Are you okay?
For example, if you're taking a 2,000 milligram maintenance dose every day, don't take it all at once. Take 500 milligrams 4 times a day. So this way it stays.
Break it up.
Flowing through your body. Yeah.
That's pretty smart. I like that. I never heard it like that, but it makes sense. Light bulb turned on.
Very, very important. Very important with vitamin C because it is water soluble. So we do urinate it out of the body very easily. So it's best to keep it in a almost like a time release type of situation, where you're every 3-4 hours you're taking 500 milligrams.
I like that. I'm going to start doing that because normally I just take them all at once. I'm like, just get it done, you know.
Go on 2 hours later.
No, exactly. That's pretty slick. I like that. So the last question I would like to kind of ask you would be, what separates you from all the other doctors that you do? Now, I'm not trying to say, put on you that you're the best one in the world, but what would you say that separates you?
Well, I would say I do care about my patients. All my patients have my cell number, and
Wow.
they can always reach me 24/7.
That's
if
rare.
they need me for anything.
Wow.
Not just my patients, any attorneys or other doctors that I deal with have my cell number at all times. So if there's ever an issue, any questions, if you need to see me, I'm always readily available. So my purpose is to serve, and in order to serve, you need to be available. So if people can't reach you, and you have to leave a message that you can only return between 9 and 5 on Monday through Friday, I'm not sure if that's the best way to serve.
Right. Okay. I love that. No, I like that because it's very rare these days for seriously for even doctors to even give out their cell phone. They're just like, just talk to my secretary. You know, I like that. That's something I feel like we've lost. You know, we've got this whole Hollywood thing, and I feel like sometimes even us, I'm not a doctor, but a lot of doctors will kind of get into that mentality where like, you know, I don't really have the time, just talk to my secretary, and you're making it a personal touch, which I think adds a lot of value because it shows that you care about people. Not saying others that don't, but sometimes we lose our first love, and I like that you're keeping it. I've been using the word a lot, intimate lately, but I like that word because that's something that we need to get back to, people. You know, but
I agree totally. I think like my family doctor, I can't reach him outside of the office hours. I mean, if I have to talk to him, I would have to leave a message or through the answering service, and then he'll call me back at some point in time. But with me, you can text me anytime, and I'll respond almost instantaneously.
Wow. That's awesome. You know, hey, doctor, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show. We will have you again because I have some ideas for because I know you work with a lot of lawyers and stuff like that. So that could be another good topic. But again, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. And in internet land, remember internet land, sharing is caring. One video can change one person's life. Even if you're not in pain, share this video because you can help one person. And make sure you see Dr. Insana. Everyone have a great day, and God bless you all.